Okay, finishing today, March 30th, 2022. Today I am up $35.42. A bit of a choppy morning. Momentum seemed to, kind of be a little bit sporadic the past few days. Yesterday I didn't make a trading recap video. But I ended the day down actually $19 on the day. So I ended the day down yesterday, down $19. I was trying to trade costs. I saw AMC ripping up right at the open, and I tried. Cost tends to track AMC, and then in the morning I saw right at the open a huge rip, and instead of buying AMC, I was like, all right, cost is like tracking AMC, so let's just jump right into this. And I got freaking taken to the cleaners on costs. I was buying low, selling high, buying high again for anticipation, and then got dumped on, and then faked out again on this candle, thinking we'd finally get a break, and finally like a huge $2-3 gap up. And so I was slinging some bigger size, and I just kept taking $15 losses back to back to back. And I went from green on the day to red on the day, and then just kind of called it. I did scalp later in the day GFI to get myself small red in the day. So, not terrible. Small red in the day, and today came back bit choppy in the morning. I traded a bunch of stocks, 5 different stocks here today, this morning. So let's go through these trades here and see how I did. So we have first one, DRCT. So the first stock I traded was actually ADGI. So let's go pull up ADGI. This was a nice flag up, way up here on extended on the 5-minute, but and it was this float is on ADGI is like 100 million shares, and irregardless, I was still trading this, and got faked out. Literally, as soon as I woke up, I sat down and I saw this, and I was like, "Oh, a 9 EMA." I mean, I should have just bought off the 9 EMA and sold into the pop here, but nope. I FOMO'd into a $7 fake out and took a nice, a nice loss. Not too big, but like small size. I mean, it's never fun to start the day on a loss, but yeah, that. And then I got faked out in this candle again, and then I thought this was going to be it. Finally, we'd finally see that push through on ADGI, but just failed on me. And then that was it. I was like, you know what? I got to be done with ADGI because I don't want to dig myself in a hole right at 7 a.m. That's just not what I want. That's just never fun to be digging yourself a nice hole to where, there's no hope to coming back to green on the day. And then as you can see later in the day, I thought we were going to see a nice red to green move. I saw, the volume was hot, 700,000 shares per 1-minute candle. So I thought there was enough volume to actually push through this VWAP. But because the float was so big, I guess there was just not enough demand for it to squeeze out the short sellers. And so I was buying in anticipation, kind of like selling some of my position early to kind of cover some profits, take some profits, and then I FOMO'd into this candle here, and then got faked out on the pullback, and then added back on the pullback for finally see it move through, but it just did not have the oomph, and I just closed it out for a scratch. So really, all in all, an ADGI down $9. Then I moved on to SNOA. SNOA. Here in the morning, I saw volume coming in. Thought we'd see a nice continuation into a solid front side on this breakout here. And so I was adding at 55. So 55, I added right for the breakout, and then I added more at 65. or no, I scalped it for a nice, 8-cent gain. And then I bought again at the peak of this green candle. I don't know why. It was really extended, but I mean, I guess it could have ran. Usually when I see this topping tail and then the next candle that is a really strong green closing at the top, overcoming that topping tail candle, red topping tail candle before it, usually is a sign that the bulls are in control. So I was adding higher and it just didn't want to go any farther. So I just closed it out for a small loss. So that was it on SNOA. I don't think I traded this at all during the day. I did see it, a potential red to green move, but the volume was light. It's 95,000, 75,000 shares per 1 minute candle. Even though it's being a 9 million float, it needed at least 100 to 200,000 shares per minute to really have that oomph to squeeze up to the short for the shorts, squeeze through the short sellers. So that was it. And then we had DRCT, which is the big winner of today, even though it didn't squeeze that much. So here at close to 7 a.m., I saw it pop up and I said, what the hell? All right, I'll buy this pullback. Kind of scalped it for a 5-cent gain. Then I finally went through for a break of, I missed this move here for the break of the pre-market high, which was back here. Break of the pre-market high early at fucking 4 in the morning. May went to 4, the stock went to 415 and then pulled back heavily. I thought it was a bit extended, which it kind of was. So I was really reluctant to be chasing this into a breakout, especially since the market has been very choppy. So I unfortunately missed this 10% move. However, I did buy this pullback off the retest of that pre-market high of 415, and I got a nice gain on that. And then I thought this would be a fake out, and then I did see kind of buyers supporting it a little bit. So I thought we'd see a move back to retrace to 450 and break through 450. This candle here stopped at exactly at 4.50. So I thought, we would see a break through 450 pre-market, but we didn't see it till open. So here I closed out for a small loss. Then here I saw, this huge green candle. I thought buyers were back in and we'd see that move to 450. So I bought the pullback, and then this candle came in and it was retesting these lows again. And I was like, you know what? I have to close out, because in the case that this makes another huge leg down, I will be screwed. So, I mean, my thesis kind of falsified itself, so I had to close the position. I thought we'd see, a micro pullback and then a push to the high. It was still kind of in a range, so I shouldn't have been treating it like a friend side, because the pivot of the range would be 4.3, and I guess I did break it by a couple cents, but I really needed to see it hold above 4.33 for me to treat it like a front side move. So it ranged for another couple hours, and then right at 9 o'clock, we got a surge through 450. I was getting hella aggressive through 450, pretty much adding all the way up to 450. I was getting sells between 50 and 55. I sold out really early. I should have held the core position, because this made another, from my sell point, it made another 8% move to the top. Even if I didn't get all the way to the top, I still could have, captured maybe to this first red candle, 5 more percent. So I kind of pussied out a little bit. I could have held it a little bit longer, but I don't know. That's just something I'm struggling with, I guess. It's still kind of extended. I mean, off the low of this candle here, it was already up 10%. I figured we'd need another retrace before a leg higher, but sometimes it just doesn't happen how you think it's going to happen, and you kind of have to adapt. So the way I adapt is by taking my gains slowly. And then I kind of just scalped it here. This was a nice flag here. I thought we'd break to the upside, but never happened, and just kept, scalping the range. And then I thought this would be the final move. I FOMO'd into this at 491. At this point, I was up about 15 bucks on the day, or $17 on the day, and I FOMO'd into this at 491. I thought we'd see that break through $5 pre-market, and we had a nice dump to retest the lows, and I figured, I have to close out my position. I was buying high, and it wanted to see it go higher, and then it just had a nice red candle, and it was retesting back to these lows of 470, and I figured if it sold off more, it'd come down another 5%, and that would be it. I would never be able to get back green on the day after a huge loss like that. So I was getting a little bit too aggressive here. Even if I did buy at 491, anticipating move to $5, I should have just been a starter size. I did get a little bit too aggressive here. I was buying, so I was in maybe about $550 position size, which is close to my full size or average full size in a position. And I should have just kept with just my starter size, which would be $120, and then add as it was testing that $5 level, or testing, it's testing that $5 level instead of, immediately go from 0 to 100. I seem to be trade better when I take a starter position, feel it out for a couple minutes, and then, add as I see confirmation instead of going from 0 to 100. Because a lot of times, I put a starter on and, it immediately fails, and okay, it's just a starter position, and I am able to recoup like 4 or 5 of those failures with one nice green trade, which I'm able to size into as I see confirmation. So then again, here at the open, I was looking for that $5 break, in which I did. So I was buying 475, 490, 494. Then I started taking off at 499, 499. I guess it was struggling to break that $5 level, and then it did. I was still holding a position. I bought more on a dip before 90 more shares before that final push to 5, and then I sold all the way at 505, 506. And it did have a nice move here, 13%, pretty solid, and then it kind of just kept chopping around here. It's just scalping the range, thinking it would get continuation. It was a nice bull flag here off the 9 EMA, and I just had a feeling, just by looking off the tape and by looking at the ladder, that there was a lot of sellers in here, and it needed to, fake out the sellers before ripping. However, it faked out the bulls before it finally did a nice dump from 550 down to 49. That's over a 10% flush, so a completely good thing I avoided that. I tried scalping the bottom here after the flush, which sometimes can be very profitable. And in this case, I took a decent gain here. It did pop up back to 507, so it gave a nice 10 to 20 cent pop there. And then here I thought we were going to see a push after we reclaim the 9 EMA, and I thought we'd see a push back towards the highs to make another move, but huge fake out there. But I completely avoided that. I think a lot of the times when I'm avoiding these moves is by looking at the tape and just feeling the sellers. Like, sometimes the buyers will buy up in the candle, and then you can see the sellers pushing it back down. You can see like a nice topping wick, and you see in this case you had a lot of topping wicks. And just by looking at the tape, and just by monitoring the intra candle, the movement of the candle while it's forming, you can tell who's in control. And so that's how I'm able to avoid a lot of these flushes instead of just buying and just waiting. So that was DRCT, and this stock was able to put me nicely green on the day. I was from negative $18 to now positive $18, and then VYNT, I traded VYNT. I thought we'd see a nice move through the high here. I bought the pullback here off the 9 EMA. Volume was at the high of the day, so I thought we'd see a nice push, but it kind of got stuffed into this level until finally seeing that push. And you know what? It is what it is. I'm not really regretful of not holding that because it is still in a very big backside move. It's still like 15% off the high. And even though it did have this push, it immediately reversed and retraced more than 100% of its move. So not too regretful of not holding that. So that was kind of a scratch, 54 cents. SNOA, it went over at SNOA and then only down 50 cents. Then NAOV popped up just recently, and it might actually make another move here. Okay, I'm going to put an alert up here over 32. I only want to get aggressive on this if it's for the break of the high, because right now it's in a range. So in a range, a lot of the times these moves that are pushing up can get stuffed, and they can just flush right off the high of this range. You really want to see, a break out of the range if you're at least a Momo trader. However, if you're a range trader, if you excel in range trading, this reclaim of the 9 EMA and the VWAP would have been a nice trade. So you'd be risking 2 cents for, now you're up 4 cents. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio. And then see, like now, if you're range trading, you may even be considering taking your profits here, because a lot of times these ranges, when you think they're going to break out and they're going to run, a lot of the times they're going to get stuffed, especially since you just had this false breakout here, which I thought we were going to get continuation on. So here you can see we're holding this level here, and I knew that, if we're holding this over this VWAP level for a consolidation period, there's a good chance that it's going to at least test the shorts. So you can tell where the shorts are because of this candle here. You got a huge volume, 1.3 million shares traded on this 1 minute candle, and it's a huge topping tail. And so you can tell the shorts, are at least have their stops above 1.26, and then at the absolute max they have their stops over 1.3. And so I saw it kind of push up here. I was a little bit late. I was a little bit cautious because it was still kind of in a range. However, once it broke this 1.626 level, I started getting super aggressive. I started buying at 129, 13, 1295, 129, 128, looking for that move through the high. We did see that push through the high, and then I took it all off here, most of it off actually. So I was in about maybe $500 position size, which is like my average right now, my average full size. I was taking it off at 1.33, 1.34, and I added on this pullback here, holding a core position, thinking we can get another push through 1.36. However, did not happen, and kind of got stuffed in this level, and had a nice 10% flush here. 12% back, and now it's gonna see. Look at this. This is why anyone who's buying here anticipating a move back to the high is likely gonna get screwed, because A, you had a false breakout here, and B, it's still in a range. It didn't even break over this level here, and really the pivot is gonna be 1.32 or 1.31. Before you want to, in this level here, this is where you want to be buying for the breakthrough 1.36. Here is still in a range. Now anyone who is buying here anticipating a frontside move just got screwed on a 5% drop. So that's why I learned my lesson the hard way by buying those until I stay away. And so that was that. I think I scalped. Oh no, I bought the bottom of this candle. I saw this candle getting bought up, and I thought this would be the final move here, and I added, I guess, 1 share. I added, and then I got a flush, and I got caught actually in a little bit of it. 1.31 yeah, didn't really get caught. It was kind of a scratch trade. And that was it. I mean, NAOV, I was able to capitalize on this move, made a nice 8% move, and that pretty much doubled my profit of the day, and now I'm up $35.42, so solid base hit. I recouped my loss from yesterday and had a nice, a nice gain on the week. So this week I am, what's today, Wednesday, 3 days in the week. On the week I am, on the week, 3 days of trading, I'm up $70. It's pretty solid. A good week for me is over 150 towards 200, which I had a few of those in 2021, and in 2022 I had 2 solid weeks. Here, actually on this week, I was up 250. This is when the oil stocks were going crazy. I was up 250 and I had that nice $100 loss, and I gave back pretty much half of my gain on the week. So this really could have been way higher. But, I mean, no reason to get too attached to my gains here. Market's not too hot, so I shouldn't be pushing it that much. But just incremental increases in share size will do the trick in this type of market if you want to size up. And then when it gets real hot, like when we have a market like the oil stocks when they were getting hot, that's when you want to be, you start maybe instead of incrementing by 10 shares, maybe you want to double your share size in some of these positions because the potential for the run is so much higher than in a market like this. So I don't know, this is just my thoughts. On the month, I am up 468. This is actually my best month in my career so far. I don't want to jinx it. Still one trading day left in the month. So as long as I don't screw it up tomorrow, I will be okay. Finishing at the best month so far in my career. My previous best month was 337, and this month is at 468. So quite an accomplishment. I feel, satisfied that I am seeing some solid results with my efforts that I'm putting in every day. And I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing, and eventually, these numbers will get bigger and bigger. And it's just, a marathon and not a sprint. So that's my attitude moving forward. And if you guys enjoyed this trading recap, please comment down below about your trading journey so far. And also like and subscribe for more videos. So see you guys on the next trading recap. Peace.